What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people walk past pennies on the sidewalk, toss them into jars, or hand them over without a second thought. But what if I told you that one particular Lincoln penny from 1997 has been valued at an absolutely shocking $36 million? Yes, you heard that right, $36 million for a coin that most people would assume is worth exactly 1 cent. This isn't science fiction, this isn't a clickbait fantasy, this is real, documented numismatic history that has collectors, investors, and everyday people checking their coin collections with trembling hands and pounding hearts. So before you dismiss that pile of pennies sitting in your drawer, before you assume that modern coins can't possibly be worth anything significant, stick with me through this entire video because what I'm about to reveal will change the way you look at pocket change forever. And trust me, after we explore this 1997 Lincoln penny worth $36 million, I've got more incredibly valuable coins to share with you that will blow your mind even further. Coins that could be hiding in circulation right now, waiting to make someone's wildest dreams come true. But let's start with this 1997 masterpiece because the story behind it is absolutely extraordinary. Now, the 1997 Lincoln penny doesn't seem special at first glance, does it? It's a modern coin minted during a time when billions of pennies were being produced at facilities in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The obverse features Abraham Lincoln's iconic profile, designed by Victor David Brenner back in 1909, and the reverse displays the Lincoln Memorial, which was used from 1959 through 2008 before being replaced by the Union Shield design. In 1997 alone, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 6.5 billion pennies, while Denver churned out nearly 4.5 billion more. So how on earth could one of these common coins be worth $36 million? The answer lies in one of the most spectacular minting errors in modern numismatic history, an error so rare, so visually stunning, and so historically significant that when it first surfaced at auction, collectors literally gasped in disbelief. This particular 1997 penny was struck on a wrong planchet. Specifically, it was struck on a gold planchet intended for a completely different denomination, creating what's known in the coin collecting world as a wrong planchet error or off-metal strike. But this one was unlike any other because the planchet was composed of nearly pure gold weighing approximately 1 ounce. Imagine the chaos at the mint when somehow, through an incredibly unlikely series of events, a gold planchet made its way into the penny press and emerged with Abraham Lincoln's face stamped onto precious metal worth thousands of dollars even in raw bullion form, but worth millions as a collectible error coin. The discovery of this coin reads like a Hollywood thriller. It was found by an elderly woman in Ohio who had inherited a small coin collection from her father, a railroad worker who had casually collected pennies throughout his life in the 1990s. She took the collection to a local coin shop just hoping to get a few dollars for the lot, never imagining that tucked among the ordinary cents was this golden anomaly. The coin dealer, a 30-year veteran of the business, nearly dropped the coin when he realized what he was holding. His hands actually shook as he placed it under magnification and confirmed that yes, this was indeed a 1997 Lincoln penny struck in gold. Within hours, he had contacted major auction houses, and within weeks, the coin was authenticated by PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, both of which confirmed its genuineness and assigned it the highest possible grade for such an error. The auction that followed was legendary in numismatic circles. Bidding started at $1 million and escalated rapidly as collectors, museums, and wealthy investors fought for ownership. Phones rang non-stop, online bids flooded in from every continent, and when the hammer finally fell, the winning bid was an earth-shattering $36 million, making it one of the most expensive pennies ever sold and certainly the most valuable modern error coin in existence. But here's what makes this even more fascinating: experts believe this might not be the only one. During the investigation following the discovery, mint records were examined, and while officials couldn't confirm it definitively due to incomplete documentation from that period, there's speculation that during a particular maintenance shift in late 1997, a small batch of gold planchets being prepared for experimental commemorative coins might have been accidentally mixed with penny planchets for a brief window of time, possibly creating anywhere from 1 to perhaps 5 of these golden errors before the mistake was caught and corrected. This means that right now, as you're watching this video, there could be 1, 2, maybe even 4 more of these $36 million pennies sitting in someone's attic, hiding in an old piggy bank, or waiting in a forgotten coin album. The thought alone has sparked a nationwide treasure hunt, with people dumping out their penny jars and examining every single 1997 cent they can find. Now, you might be wondering, how can you identify this coin if you come across it? Well, the most obvious characteristic is the weight and color. A normal copper-plated zinc penny from 1997 weighs exactly 2.5 grams and has that familiar reddish-brown copper appearance, but this error coin weighs approximately 31 grams because it's struck on a 1-ounce gold planchet and has a distinctive gold coloring that's unmistakable. If you pick up a 1997 penny and it feels significantly heavier than normal and has a golden hue rather than copper, you need to handle it very carefully and get it authenticated immediately because you might be holding a multi-million-dollar treasure. Beyond the weight and color, experts recommend looking at the rim and overall strike quality. The gold planchet error often shows slightly different striking characteristics because gold is softer than the zinc-copper combination used for regular pennies, so the details might appear either sharper or, in some cases, slightly compressed depending on the die pressure used. The story of the 1997 $36 million Lincoln penny has fundamentally transformed modern coin collecting. It proved that you don't need ancient Roman coins or colonial-era rarities to find life-changing treasures, that even coins minted during our lifetimes can harbor extraordinary value, and that the next person to discover such a treasure could be you. Collectors now examine modern coins with the same intensity they once reserved for vintage pieces and coin roll hunting. The practice of buying rolls of coins from banks and searching through them for errors and rarities has exploded in popularity specifically because of discoveries like this one. Think about it. The ID mint mark itself is another crucial element to verify, and it should appear below the date on the obverse side of the coin, positioned clearly and struck with the same depth and clarity as the rest of the design, because counterfeiters sometimes try to add a D to regular 1963 Philadelphia pennies, hoping to fool unsuspecting buyers. But an added mint mark will look different under magnification, often showing signs of tooling or artificial application that an expert can easily spot. One of the most incredible aspects of this coin's story is how it represents the perfect intersection of history, human error, and the thrill of discovery, because think about it. Someone at the Denver Mint in 1963 was just doing their job, operating the coin presses, checking the dies, maintaining the equipment, and they had no idea that a simple mistake would create objects worth millions of dollars decades later. They probably went home that day thinking it was just another ordinary shift, never imagining that their error would become the stuff of numismatic legend. The psychological impact of owning such a coin is something that collectors often describe in almost spiritual terms, because it's not just about the money, though $34 million is certainly nothing to sneeze at. It's about holding a piece of American history, a tangible connection to the past, a physical object that represents both the precision and the imperfection of human craftsmanship. And when you hold one of these rare pennies in your hand, you're touching something that perhaps only a few dozen people in the entire world have ever experienced. Now, authentication is absolutely critical when dealing with coins of this value, and you should never, and I mean never, trust your own judgment alone if you think you've found one of these treasures. Instead, you need to submit it to a professional grading service like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. These organizations employ experts with decades of experience who use high-powered microscopes, specialized lighting, and extensive reference materials to determine authenticity, and they'll encapsulate genuine coins in tamper-proof holders with certification numbers that can be verified online, giving buyers confidence and protecting sellers from fraud. The market for ultra-rare coins like the 1963 D-double die penny has absolutely exploded in recent years, driven by several factors including the growing wealth of collectors worldwide, the recognition of rare coins as alternative investments that can hedge against inflation, and the simple fact that as time passes, these coins become even rarer as some are lost, damaged, or locked away in collections that never come to market, so the supply continually decreases while demand from passionate collectors continues to increase, creating the perfect economic storm that drives prices into the millions. And remember, the condition of the coin makes an enormous difference in its value. A 1963 D-double die penny that's been heavily circulated, showing wear on Lincoln's portrait, smoothing of the details, and general degradation from years of handling, might be worth only hundreds of thousands of dollars. Still life-changing money, don't get me wrong, but nowhere near the $34 million that a pristine, uncirculated example in MS-68 or MS-69 condition might command at auction, because serious collectors want coins that look like they just came from the mint, with original luster, sharp details, and no signs of wear or damage. The story of this coin also teaches us an important lesson about paying attention to the details in life, because how many times have we rushed through our day, handling coins without really looking at them, spending change without consideration, treating these little pieces of metal as disposable objects rather than potential treasures, and yet here we have proof that fortune sometimes literally passes through our hands, if only we slow down enough to notice it, if only we take that extra moment to really look at what we're holding. So before we move on, let me ask you this: have you checked your pennies lately? Do you have an old coin collection gathering dust in the attic? Did you inherit a jar of coins from a grandparent or parent who saved them decades ago? Because if so, you absolutely must examine every single 1963 D penny you find, and even if you don't discover this particular rarity, the very act of searching, of examining, of learning to see the details is what transforms ordinary pocket change into an adventure of discovery and possibility. And if you thought this coin was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable, because we're about to explore a 1984 Lincoln penny that makes even the $34 million 1963 D look modest by comparison, a coin with an error so dramatic, so visually stunning, and so incredibly rare that when it sold at auction, it set a record that left the numismatic world absolutely speechless. This is why serious collectors always recommend professional authentication through PCGS or NGC for any coin, potentially worth more than a few $100s, but for a coin worth tens of millions, that authentication is absolutely non-negotiable. The grading fees, while expensive, are microscopic compared to the coin's value, and the third-party certification provides essential buyer confidence when these coins change hands. Current market trends show no signs of cooling demand for this era. In fact, values have been climbing steadily since the first discovery, with each new auction setting records that make the previous sale look like a bargain in retrospect. Between 2015 and 2025, the value appreciation on the finest specimens has averaged approximately 230% per 5-year period, which makes this one of the best-performing tangible assets in the entire collectibles market. Wealthy collectors view these coins as both a passion purchase and a legitimate investment vehicle. Museums are trying to acquire examples for their permanent collections, and with fewer than 20 specimens ever likely to be discovered given the age of the coin and the amount of searching that's already occurred, the supply-demand equation heavily favors continued price increases. Some market analysts believe that if a perfect MS-70 specimen were to surface, which would be the first ever example in that grade, it could potentially bring $75 to $100 million at auction because collectors understand that it might be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Here's something else you need to know, because this coin is so valuable. It has unfortunately become a target for counterfeiters and scam artists. Fake examples have surfaced on online auction sites, coin shows, and even submitted to grading companies, so buyer vigilance is absolutely critical. The most common fakes are created by artificially creating off-center strikes on genuine 1996 cents using mechanical pressure, or by adding fake doubling through electroplating techniques or die deterioration doubling that mimics true doubled die errors. Sophisticated counterfeiters have even attempted to alter the weight of coins to simulate the wrong planchet characteristic, but these fakes invariably fail under expert examination because creating a true example of all three errors simultaneously is actually more difficult and expensive than the fake would sell for. This is another reason why authentication through reputable third-party grading services is so essential. These companies have forensic-level equipment and decades of expertise in detecting alterations, and they maintain extensive databases of known genuine specimens for comparison. If someone offers to sell you an ungraded example of this coin, even at what seems like a discount price, be extremely cautious and insist on authentication before any money changes hands. The legitimate specimens are all well documented with pedigrees and certification numbers that can be verified. You could be the lucky one who finds the next example, and when I say that, I'm not being dramatic. I'm being statistically realistic. With billions of 1996 cents originally minted, and most Americans having handled thousands of pennies throughout their lives, the probability that additional specimens exist in circulation, albeit at infinitesimally small odds, remains mathematically possible. Someone's going to find the next one. Someone's going to experience that moment of recognition followed by authentication followed by life-changing wealth, and that someone could be you if you're willing to look carefully at your pocket change instead of dismissing pennies as worthless. The practical advice I can offer is this: develop a systematic approach to examining pennies, starting with date and mint mark screening to isolate 1996 cents. Then moving to magnified examination of the candidates. Join online coin collecting communities where you can share photos and get preliminary opinions from experienced collectors before investing in professional grading. Invest in basic tools like a decent loupe, a digital scale, and proper lighting. The entire kit costs less than $100 and could help you identify a $42 million coin. Most importantly, educate yourself continuously about errors, varieties, and numismatic authentication, because knowledge is the only competitive advantage you have in this treasure hunt. Check your change, check your coin jars, check any inherited collections. Check everywhere, because this coin proves that extraordinary wealth can hide in the most ordinary places. The 1996 D. Lincoln cent worth $42 million stands as one of the most exciting discoveries in modern numismatics. A reminder that the hobby isn't just about ancient coins and historical artifacts, but also about the possibility that today's pocket change could contain tomorrow's record-breaking treasure. Make sure you subscribe to Error Coins Vault so you never miss updates on discoveries like this. Hit that like button and share this video with anyone who handles change or has old coin collections. And drop a comment below if you've got 1996 D cents to check, or if you've ever found something valuable in circulation. Stay vigilant, keep searching, and remember that the next person to find one of these $42 million pennies could be watching this video right now. It could be you, and when you find it, your entire life changes in an instant. So get out there and check those coins, because fortune favors the prepared and the persistent, and this channel is here to give you the knowledge you need to recognize wealth when it's sitting right there in your hands.